right, we've got major breaking news right now. CNN has just learned of this report initially through Twitter. The stepmom has just been arrested. This boy's stepmom has just been arrested. She was picked up on a probation violation on a weapons charge. Authorities say it's unrelated to this particular case, but HLN law enforcement analyst Mike Brooks weigh in on this.
Well, you know, maybe that's a good reason why she didn't want to take a polygraph, Jane, and that's why she refused. But you know what's interesting? Now they've got her, so now they have her in custody. So she's basically a captive audience that probably is going to face a little bit more questioning on exactly what happened. Because, Jane, when the father came on Nancy's show last night, he left the house. He came to the show. The stepmom was still there. Law enforcement came in and served that search warrant and found the little boy. So I still want to know what kind of information they had that led them to the apartment with that search warrant, and the stepmom was there. So I guarantee you she knows more than what we're hearing and what she's saying to police. But now she's under arrest, so I'm sure they'll be speaking to her a little bit longer unless she lawyers up.
Okay, again, breaking news. We are just learning through CNN, which first heard of this through Twitter, that the stepmom has been arrested, picked up on a probation violation related to a weapons charge. Dr. Judy Ho, forensic psychologist, what we know is that the little boy walked into the night, not last Saturday, but the Saturday night before, and the reports were that he hadn't done his chores. And the dad says, well, the mom didn't argue with him, but just said, okay, which I find a little odd. How do you let a 12-year-old march out into the night, especially if he hasn't done his chores? You know, my question, obviously, was there an argument? Was there an argument? And did mom say, stepmom, I'll show you. You think you're going to walk out on Saturday night without doing your chores? I got something else again.
That's right, Jane. There are so many holes in this story, and at minimum, I think the child abuse allegation has to be really seriously looked into. There's no way that this has unfolded the way that the parents are reporting. And I want to address the polygraph results as well. I know the father took a polygraph, and it was inconclusive. Now, polygraph tests are not really all the way accurate. There's a lot of misconceptions about how accurate they are, but usually they're used to scare people who are telling lies to basically be afraid and start telling the truth. But as far as the scientific knowledge about polygraphs, you know, that's very inconclusive in itself. Now, when you get an inconclusive test, what that means is that you responded to all the questions on the test in the same way. Whether they were questions like, what day is today? It's Thursday, to questions like, do you know what happened to your son? This person basically responded in the same exact way. He wasn't more nervous or less nervous on any of these questions. Now, that is a very questionable finding, too. Why was the test inconclusive? Why didn't he have more of an emotional differentiation when they were talking about his son? And so that suggests that there's something really eerie going on, something very suspicious about what the father knew and what he was trying to hide.
If he didn't do his chores, is it possible that there was an argument?
Well, there's according to the attorney, the family's attorney, there had been apparently been some tension about the boy was apparently upset about some discussions that he might be he could face potentially going to a military academy. The family was talking about moving out of the city into one of the suburbs, maybe sending him to school there. If he didn't do well in school, he might have to go to a military academy, and apparently he was upset about that. That's according to the attorney. So I don't know if that played into that, but that's something that they mentioned.
And one other thing, what about this PVC pipe? We've been trying to get a picture of PVC pipe. I think most of us know what it is. It's white pipe that they use for plumbing purposes. What's the story with the PVC pipe that cops found? Where did they find it, and why do they think it's a piece of evidence?
Well, they haven't said they haven't said where they found it. They just said it's at a different location. There was some blood that was found on some clothing and the trunk of the dad's car, but it's not clear that was. They were still waiting on test results to determine where that came from. We've heard some different things about what the pipe might have been used for.
Like what?
But yeah, they're clear about it was part of the investigation. There have been some reports that maybe he had used it to discipline the boy